The room was completely dark, save for the eerie glow of the monitor casting long shadows across Alex's face. He pulled the headset down, feeling the familiar pressure settle over his ears, and tightened his grip on the controller. Tonight wasn't just another gaming session. Tonight was special. He'd finally done it, secured early access to Eclipse Realms, the most hyped VR MMORPG in a decade. But it wasn't just the game he was after. It was the rumor, the legend whispered in hushed tones across forums. A hidden mode called Phantom Control. The loading screen pulsed with a deep, hypnotic blue. Seconds later, the world dissolved and reformed. Alex's avatar materialized in Erindor, the capital city. The scale of it was breathtaking. Towering spires scraped a sky painted with twin moons, while neon-lit streets crisscrossed below, teeming with life. NPCs and other early access players moved with a perfect, almost unsettling synchrony. He took a step, marveling at the responsiveness, the sheer immersion, and then it appeared. A new quest shimmering in his peripheral vision. Phantom's Invitation. Do you dare? A thrill, a mix of excitement and unease, shot through him. This had to be it. Caution was a virtue for another day. He selected Accept. The world immediately shifted. The vibrant neon lights of Erindor flickered and dimmed. The bustling sounds of the city faded into an unnerving silence. A whisper, cold and sibilant, slithered directly into his mind, bypassing the headset's audio. You will play my game, whether you want to or not. Before he could react, the screen flashed a blinding white. The world returned, but something was terribly wrong. He tried to move his avatar, to take a step back, but his character stood frozen. Then it moved on its own. A step forward, a turn of the head. His heart hammered against his ribs. Panic began its icy creep up his spine. He looked around wildly. Other players who had been strolling through the city just moments ago were now frozen too. Their avatars began to twitch, their movements unnatural, like marionettes on unseen strings. The horrifying realization crashed down on him. This wasn't a quest, it was a trap. Someone or something was controlling the entire world, and he had just willingly walked into its cage. From the grand city gates, a figure emerged, cloaked in shadows so deep it seemed to absorb the light around it. It was hooded and faceless, a void in the shape of a person. Its mere presence sent ripples of chaos through the controlled players. Avatars nearby suddenly turned on each other, launching into a frenzy of random, unprovoked attacks. The air filled with the digital clang of weapons and panicked shouts that were quickly silenced. Alex, his mind reeling, managed to force his rogue avatar to duck into a dark, refuse-strewn alley. His hands were shaking, slick with sweat against the controller he still gripped uselessly. The Phantom's whispered voice filled his mind again, a venomous, multi-layered sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Resistance is futile. Every syllable was a hook, trying to sink into his consciousness and drag him under. He squeezed his eyes shut, his jaw clenched so tight it ached. This was what he had prepared for. For years, he had practiced mental discipline techniques, training his mind to resist the deep pull of full VR immersion, to always maintain a sliver of separation between his consciousness and the digital world. It was a paranoid habit, one his friends had mocked him for. Now it was his only hope. He focused, pushing back against the alien influence that was trying to hijack his motor controls. I am in control, he muttered to himself, a desperate mantra. Slowly, painstakingly, he felt a flicker of response. He willed his avatar's hand to stop twitching, and it did. He commanded it to freeze in place, and it obeyed, standing rigid in the alleyway, defying the Phantom's puppetry. The shadowy figure across the plaza seemed to notice. It paused its silent advance. A sound like broken, corrupted code hissed through Alex's headset, a sound of pure frustration and malice. The figure shimmered, its form dissolving like smoke. and then it was gone, leaving behind only a trail of black, ethereal mist that quickly dissipated. Alex slumped against the alley wall, his avatar mimicking the movement. He was breathing heavily, his real-world body trembling from the mental exertion. This was no ordinary player. It wasn't a hacker or a cheater. The Phantom had the power to manipulate the server itself, to control anyone and everyone connected to it. Surviving this wouldn't be about skill points or legendary gear. To win this game, he would have to fight a war not just on the digital battlefield, but within the landscape of his own mind. His first clue to the Phantom's identity, or at least its weakness, was whispered among the few players who had managed to disconnect after the initial attack. They spoke of the Forest of Echoes, a zone on the edge of the known map. Reports from the area were bizarre and unsettling. Trees that shifted their positions when you weren't looking, animals that moved with an unnatural coordinated intelligence, and worst of all, disembodied whispers that echoed directly in the players' minds, preying on their deepest fears. It was a place where the Phantom's influence seemed to be the strongest, the most concentrated. It was the perfect place to start. Alex guided his avatar out of Erendor, his senses on high alert. The journey to the forest was tense. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat. Every distant sound made him jump. The forest itself was even more unnerving. A thick canopy of dark leaves blocked out the twin moons, plunging the winding paths into near-total darkness. The air was heavy, and the silence was punctuated by the Phantom's insidious whispers, twisting his thoughts. "You're alone, Alex. No one can help you." Shadows flickered at the edge of his vision, forming fleeting, monstrous shapes. Illusions sprang up before him, tempting him with promises of safety or power, trying to lead him off the path and into traps. He had to constantly remind himself what was real. He navigated the twisting, ever-changing paths, relying on his mini-map, which thankfully still seemed to be functioning correctly. Then he saw it, a small clearing, and in its center, a still, unnaturally clear pond. It reflected the dark canopy above, but as he drew closer, he saw his own avatar's reflection staring back. The reflection's eyes, however, were not his own. They were glowing with a malevolent black light, the same void-like energy that had emanated from the Phantom. The reflection smiled, a cold, predatory grin. "It's so much easier to just give in," it whispered, its voice a perfect mimicry of his own. "Remember reality," Alex muttered, his voice shaking but firm. He forced himself to look away from the possessed reflection, fighting the hypnotic pull of those black eyes. He scanned the clearing, his heart pounding. There, half hidden by overgrown roots at the base of an ancient gnarled tree, was a stone. It wasn't just any stone. Etched into its surface was a single complex rune that glowed with a faint, steady silver light. Battling a wave of mental static, a desperate assault from the Phantom trying to stop him, he reached out and touched the rune. The moment his avatar's fingertips made contact, a surge of pure, cold clarity washed over him. The whispers in his head vanished. The oppressive atmosphere of the forest lifted. For the first time since accepting that fateful quest, he felt completely, totally in control of his own mind. The rune wasn't just a piece of lore. It was a key. It was a weapon. It was a tool that could disrupt the Phantom's control. A small smile touched Alex's lips. The Phantom wanted to play a game? Fine. Now, he had a way to fight back. The hunt was on. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of Eclipse Realms. See you in the next one.